guys, and welcome to my channel and to this video. Well, I suppose this is going to be the first I will do well, on your request. And as you could have seen, the one that it has been picked is robin with a nest on the snowy branches. So that's something we will be doing today. I did not do two robins, but just one, because I do think it kind of works better with the idea I have and the composition I have. So that's the reason why I did not really put in two robins. So I will start. I'm sorry. It's still quite early, so I'm just actually waking up and my voice is waking up, so I'm so sorry. Let me just get my, well, I guess a brush. This is a Raphael. This one can hold quite an amount of water. I really do like it, so I will start with that one. And as you can see, I did not add any tape around for the white border. I will make my border a little bit you know, not perfectly even, but it's gonna be a little bit looser. And I am using this watercolor paper from Centenaire. This is cold press watercolor paper. It is 100% cotton and also 300 GSM or 140 pounds. It is 23 by 31 centimeters or 9 by 12 and 1/8 of an inch. So it's a very nice cotton watercolor paper. And of course, if you don't have a cotton watercolor paper, any watercolor paper will do. I'm not sure if I said that, but I did do my sketch and it is available for tracing, for download. So you can find the link in the description of this video and go to the link and download the sketch for yourself. So I will just start first with wetting, I'm sorry, wetting the paper. And I'm not gonna wet the entire paper. I will be painting this in sections. I will start with my background and just gonna wet the paper here first in the lower part like that. So for the background, I will mix in a little bit of bluish, a little bit. Let's just start with this lighter blue I did use for this week. These are the colors of the week, right? So this blue, and I will add in a little bit of the black just to create this grayish color, and just go around my nest and the branches, because we will be painting snow on branches. So we do want that. We want the snow to be visible, right? So if we put the background white and the snow also white, it wouldn't be visible. So just gonna add a little bit more of the paint just next to my branch like that. And here like that. You can, if you like, add a little bit more of the details here and there. Just tap in a little bit of the paint. Maybe I will add a little bit of the black and just tap it in here and there to make it look like something else is also going on in the background. It's not just empty space like that. That's gonna be our first part. Oops, I'm sorry. So I will just go around and do the same thing in between all the branches. So this one has that snow on top that we're just talking about. So just mind that. Colors I'm using are the one I made myself. This is a pastel collection and set, and also cozy set. And like that. And then I'm gonna again use that blue add just a little bit of the black. Mix those two in. I like that color for the wintry feel. It just looks nice. Mix of those two colors look really nice. So like that, just a little bit more around their nest and here where the branches are. And I'm gonna do one more thing. You can do that if you like, just to create a little bit of the texture. Your paper shouldn't be too wet or shouldn't be too dry. I will get a little bit of the salt and just add a few sprinkles of the salt. When I'm going around, I will just add. We'll see. Salt is quite unpredictable and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so we'll see how it will behave, just to create a little bit more of the texture. So I'm gonna go on the next one, just here. Around our little bird. And up here. And you can see that I didn't draw my branches all the way to the edges of the paper because I do want to create that fuzzy feeling at the edges. I do want to create that a little bit looser feeling, so that's the reason why I did not go all the way to the edge. There's gonna be the branch that our bird is sitting on, so that let's just add that mix for the colors here for a background. This creates a nice wintry feel. So even though when this painting was baked, I was thinking to myself, well, maybe that's not really so much wintry feel. But you know, then again, you can make any theme a little bit wintry, right? Just add winter colors, want to create the winter feel all around it, right? I'm gonna also just get a brush and add a few splatters of the color here. Alright. So I'm just going around and how any idea comes to me. So I was thinking to do this one. This is actually how I paint one of myself. I take an idea and I just develop it along the way. You know how I feel. I want to add this here or there, something there, and I just develop my idea as I go. I don't plan everything. I see how my paper and my paint behaves, and just depending on that, I'm actually creating the painting. So sometimes I really don't have the full entire plan in my head, and I just go and I see, oh, I want to add this or that. This would look nice. That's how I operate with my paintings. Usually when I'm all by myself, painting all by myself. There you go. Let's just turn this around and we will do a little bit of the salt here, like that, and moving on to the next part here. Again, just a little bit around our robin and to this branch in the center. This is super relaxing. And that's how I feel like painting today, relaxing. I had a horrible headache yesterday, and I don't know, the weather was, I guess, changing or something, and I had just the worst headache, and today I feel a lot better. So I wanted to do something that relaxed me, and I wasn't necessarily planning to do this bird and nest like this, but you know, that's how I felt this morning waking up. And so that's what you should do, you know. You should paint what it feels good for you at the moment, what you feel comfortable with. A little bit of the salt here, like that, for just an added texture. Those textures will be subtle from the salt, but they will be there, you know. It won't be just one very, very smooth painting and color. Just those textures are going to be visible. My water is getting dirty. I have some here, some little hair. There you go. Just gonna revet that again. Pick up a little bit more of the blue. This is just a light blue. If you have a light blue, you can use that one here. Yeah, someone told me pastel colors are not really for winter, but I absolutely disagree with that, you know, because I do believe they are. All the colors are at the winter very, very muted. There are no harsh colors, there are no, you know, as spring has more intense colors, and for me winter is just all about subtlety, just very, very subtle colors. So I do think that pastels are actually perfect for winter. If you're trying to recreate a winter scenery, especially outside, muted colors are very, very, pastel colors are very nice for that. Even if you're painting maybe some flower peeking through or something like that. You know, the one that maybe doesn't get... Yeah, I did have a calendula last year all the way. Well, I guess all the way to this year, because it was flowering all the way to in January. And I think January was the last month we had any flowers, because I think we did not have any snow by January, or not at least any that stick. And that one really sticked, so it burned the calendula, and I did not have any more afterwards. But you know, there you go, that one was flowering all the way in the winter. So just gonna do a couple of splatters again, like that. Just creating that beautiful wintry feel. And we don't have much more, just here on this side a little bit. And you know, we're gonna have to let that dry somewhat. I'll try to paint something, the nest, while this is drying. I can't really dry that now with a hair dryer, because I'm using salt, so it has to dry naturally for salt to work and to create those beautiful textures. So I will just leave that to dry naturally. And you can really mix a lot more of the paint, because you can see how I'm running out of the paint and just making new mixtures. And doing that, of course, I'm mixing different ratio of black and blue, and not all my colors are going to be the same all around. They're quite similar, you know, but not perfectly same. So if you want everything to be very much the same, I'm not bothered with that. Well, you just mix a lot more of the paint at the start, like that. A little bit more of the salt. There you go. And then we're gonna go here around this one. And I do have some branches sticking out, but I'm not trying to go around them, because when I add later on the paint, it will be a little bit more saturated. So I don't have to worry about they won't be visible or something like that. I do love to paint winter scenes. Yeah, last year I also did 30 Days of Winter. So if maybe some of you missed that, you can go back and find it on my channel. Actually, this video will also be in that playlist, 30 Days of Winter. So in that playlist you can also find old videos from the last year. So if you missed them, there is a lot winter videos there in that playlist. So if you want to paint winter, you have the idea for each day. And more here, following today. This year is December, last year, so there is a lot of things to paint. You can definitely find something for yourself to choose. There you go. We added salt to this one, and I will just get a little bit that smaller brush and pick up a little bit of the paint and just do a few splatters around. And I will use a little bit of the black also, and just while this is still wet, add on a few spots, not everywhere, a little bit of the black. So we do have our background in. Let's just leave this to dry, and when it dries we can just move on to the next step. So this might not be fully dry, but it is dry enough so I can start doing the nest and also the branches around. It is more or less dry, and you can see how actually subtle the effect of the salt is. I was using quite light colors, so the effect isn't also very visible, but if you want your effect to be a little bit more visible and stronger, you should definitely use more pigment and more saturated colors. You can see I did want to make everything light. That is how I feel today, so that is how I decided to do it. So for the nest, I do have some salt here. I want to move it away. I haven't removed the salt, I'm just leaving it there still, you know, until I finished the nest. So for the nest, I'm gonna use this. This is a coffee brown. Let's just place it here. Yeah, you can see that. Some coffee brown. And also I will pick up a little bit of yellow. This is called warm yellow. So just gonna get a little bit of that. And I'm gonna do the nest. So just be careful when you're doing the nest. We do have here some snow on top of our nest. So I do want to skip that part and not paint that. So just be careful when you do that. When you start painting your nest. Like that, and I'm gonna get a little bit more of that brown and just add it here and there. We're gonna do singular branches, but just want to add a little bit more of the texture before we move on to the branches. So like that, and also we do have a little bit of the branches visible inside. A little bit of the yellow. Just going around, minding to skip that part where the snow is. Like that. So as I said, we did do first the entire outline, not starting with the details, but on the top we will add some details for the branches, some branches sticking out. That's something we will do a little bit later on. And also I have here a mix of black and brown, so I will just tap in and add that also here and there. Just to create the impression of, you know, different colored branches inside. So there you go, that's gonna be that. And now I will just move on to painting the branches. And branches I will be painting again using that same coffee brown and using some black, a little bit of the black mix of those two colors. So you can maybe use sepia here if you have, that would be fine, or some other darker brown. So let's just start with the branches. Just be careful again to skip the part where I have here some salt, where the snow is, right? We don't want to paint that, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more. Darker tone, like that. Here my branch goes. Using slightly smaller brush, and just make your branches uneven. They don't need to be perfectly even, like that. So you can see today I'm just really taking my time, not trying to paint anything fast, to rush anything. I really want to enjoy. So hopefully you will like that and join me. You have the whole weekend in front of you. So like that, that's gonna be our first branch. And then for the second one, I'm gonna put here, and I'm gonna do the second one, this one. Just before I move on to that one, I do want to make that line crisp, you know, between the branch and the snow. So let's just make that one crisp like that. So now moving on to this one. Again, want to make that one also crisp. It is actually more important for me to make it crisp here where it touches the snow than on the other side, because I really do want that line to be very, very crisp. Like that, and then get a little bit of that darker mix of brown and black. As I said, you can use sepia. Like that, and even a little bit more of that here at the edges. Like that, and I do want to make a few suggestions, maybe some buds, some smaller branches there sticking out. So just gonna add in a few of those like that, some smaller branches. And also it's easier for me to do that crisper line with this smaller brush. This one is actually a real hair brush, squirrel hair. So definitely is a little bit harder to control the water, and because it does hold quite amount of the water. Like that. I'm gonna get a little bit more to add it here and there, just to create the texture and do it like that. So that's gonna be our second branch. And let's move on to the one that our bird is sitting on. Same thing, I'm gonna get a little bit of that brown and a little bit of the yellow, mix those two in. I'm sorry. And just gonna start to paint, again minding the line where the snow is. Just do not go over that line. Like that. And to make it crisp, right? There you go. And now let's just get that, again, brown. Tap that in. Well, the paint is still wet. Somewhat, right? Like that. I'm gonna get a smaller brush, get some black, place it here, and then do darker details on that branch with that dark tone, mostly going on the lower edge. So again, if you want to add a few thicker, thinner lines, maybe you want to add some, like make it look like it's sticking outside the snow, why not, right? Like that, one very thin, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Like that. And here around the feet of our robin, I do have some, because it's standing there, he moved the snow around, so I'm just gonna make that part also look like we have a sneak peek there of a branch, like that. So let's move on to the next one. Well, I guess I do have one here, but I actually covered it here. Doesn't matter, we'll make it look like there is no snow on that one. So let me just see here. So I'm gonna paint it like that, and also on this side. Gonna get a little bit lighter. So this one I started the other way around with the lighter, and then on top adding. Are we recording? We are. So top adding a little bit lighter like that. That's gonna be our second branch. Let's move on to this one now. My salt is squeaking when I turn this paper around. So like that, a little bit more of that brown. I'm gonna put that one here. Again, making sure my line is crisp. Where the snow is. I did cover it slightly here, so I'm gonna just pick it up like that. Let's just get again that brown, mix it in here with black, tap it in. This is quite turning out to be quite repetitive painting, but you know, that's a good thing for practice, and practice does make perfect. So why not, right? And I will get now some of that black. I have my water here, just placing it so you can see it. Gonna get my black and put it here just on the edge since the paint is still wet. It's gonna move it also inside, maybe add some branch here also. Just make some peek throughs like that on a branch. Yeah, I could have done that here also. So I'm gonna add one peek through here like that, just to make our lines a little bit less boring. And I just turned my paper around just to see if everything is crisp here beneath my snow. Just wanna go around it and make it as crisp as I can like that. There you go. This one, well, for this one I decided to do one very thin line, just visible. Everything else is covered, so we will do one line for the branch like that. A little bit more paint, and I can do again a little bit more of the details on it like that. Yep, I like that one. So this one, well, the snow is gonna be on top, and here it's gonna be the branch visible. So let's just turn it this way. Can you see that? Yeah, I think you can. So let's just start the same way, first with that brownish and a little bit of the red like that, and then just do, it is quite light, I'm gonna add just a little bit more of the brown, and let's just do our branch all the way to the nest. And here it's snow, so just mind that again like that, and then picking up the darker, just that darker brown, coffee brown. Yeah, it did remind me of a color, coffee color, so I decided to call it coffee brown. I don't know. Yeah. And some black. Mix it in here and add it here onto our branches. And I'm gonna do one peek through, one smaller branch here, maybe one going from that one, and we had naturally created one peak here, so I'm gonna He wanted to be there, so he's gonna stay. There you go, like that. Just turning it around to see if I like it. Yeah, I do like it. And then we're gonna do the last one. This one, again, same thing. Those browns. So like that. I'm gonna get a little bit more of the brown, put it in here. Like that, and a little bit of the black, mix that all in. Just adding it. We do have one again here. I can do one more branch. I can do one sticking from the snow, because why not? I can. Right, it's your painting. You can do whatever you like. And what I would like to do is just at least those edges that I can still do that. Maybe just add here at the edge a little bit of the water. Oops. Yeah, that's what happens when you're not being careful. Just gonna add a little bit like that. I do want to make those edges fuzzy, a little bit fuzzy, not really straight. So I'm just gonna get a little bit water and put it on the edge, and then just grab a little bit more of the paint and push it here, just to make that edge a little bit fuzzier, like that. Just be careful not to put too much water. Like that, just to make it look like it's disappearing somewhere. And making it a little bit, you know, not some crisp finish to our painting, to our branch, right? Because obviously it's not ending there. They are just going, spreading away, but we just don't see that, right? So like that. And this part dried, so I will get a little bit more of that brown again, put it here, and I'm gonna do a couple of those branches. I have some of the lines here, if it makes more comfortable to you, and you have some, you can definitely use here some watercolor pencils, with just some regular pencils. They would also be fine. I'm using this detail brush to add in those branches, and don't point them all in the same direction, and don't make them all same color. Just add a little bit more black to one mix, a little bit more brown, you know, just to make them slightly different. And your strokes, or just those lines, will definitely be different if you're using, I'm gonna make one sticking here, definitely going to be different if you're using watercolor pencil, or if you are using watercolors and brush, of course. So just mind that. It's normal that they will be different. Just adding a little bit more of the black. I'm gonna add some black here. Just they go all the way because those birdies make them, just put them in and they don't look perfect. They look fuzzy all over the place, but actually very, very firm construction. Yeah, we all do have a lot to learn from nature. So like that, just those. Sticking one through the snow. Like that. I'm just gonna use almost a dry brush and go all the way around, and it will create that beautiful dry brush technique. So I'm gonna go all the way around and do that also to my nest. Just to add in the details, even though this is not going to be, and I'm never, you know me, I'm never really trying to make anything perfectly realistic. That's not really my style. And just beneath the snow, maybe some again sticking out of the snow like that. There you go, our nest. Those branches are sticking everywhere, right? In all directions they are sticking through from our nest. Like that on all sides. And also same thing I'm gonna do inside, a little bit of the black, and I will add just a little bit of the brown to that black. And then I don't want too much color on my brush, just like that. Let's create some textures inside. Also like that. Also going in all sorts of directions. Like that. And there you go. So making it look, well, I guess somewhat like a nest. To make it, well, that at least impression, right? That's the point, as I said, to make your brain see the nest. You don't have to paint it perfectly and with every singular detail, just to create that impression. So our brain will do the rest, right? just do maybe a few again of those branches are sticking through our snow, because as we said, they are not perfectly placed, they're not tight, so some of them are going to stick out from the snow. Like that, on all sides and directions, right? Put them go all the way here. Also, I'll add a few going on top of each other like that to make a fuzzy nest. Make a fuzzy. So like that. Now that we have, well, finished with that for now, let's do our robbin, but first I will remove the salt. I think my branches are now dry. Let's just throw it through that. Yeah, I believe I got rid of it for the most part now here. Or not. Yeah. And you see how actually that effect from the salt is quite subtle, but it is visible. It just gives that beautiful subtle textures. So let me take a sip of my coffee. Like that. And for the robbin, I will be using similar colors. So first I will do his back, and the back will be almost black. So just gonna wet that part around his eyes. I'm gonna leave a little spot. Not gonna go all the way to the eyes. Like that, and then gonna pick up that black, mix it in a little bit with the brown. Just gonna put it in for my robbin. And since the paint paper is wet, we wetted it. It will bleed nicely in, create some textures like that. Just gonna leave just a tiny bit around the eyes, not painted, like that for a robbin. And then I will just get a little bit more of that brown and a little bit more of the black, and just gonna go back and add it. And this time I will just leave the paint do its thing, also move around. Some spots are gonna be left a little bit lighter. I'm fine with that. I'm gonna add just a touch of that here, like that, like that. So let's get a smaller brush, and I'm gonna get a little bit more of the black and put it on its head, because I do see that his head is slightly darker, and here on the front of his eyes, it's just gonna go all the way to the eye. I'm gonna paint in the eye, and I'm gonna leave one part of the eye white, like that. I really do like granulating colors. I think I already said that to you guys. And just with those granulating colors, you can create such wonders if you love those textures. So I really do love, and this black is just wow, just wow. And I'm gonna get even smaller brush for details. I'm just gonna do the feathers here like that on my robbin, and also get back to that again, smaller brush, pick up some black even more, and I'm just gonna go and do a few top pins. I do want to make that part around the eyes and on the head, dark, so I will do that, and maybe some parts on the feather. Just gonna add top pins, not gonna paint now the entire way around like that. So that's gonna be the back side of our robbin. I'm not gonna do more. And now I'm gonna do its belly, and my paint is dirty, my water is dirty, but I don't mind that. You know why? Because I'm gonna use that brownish color for his belly, coffee brown again, and I'm gonna use yellow, this warm yellow, a little bit more of the brown. Let's not be shy with our paint. A little bit more of the yellow, like that, and just gonna go in and start here at the top. And my paints are going to mix because it's not fully dry, but that's fine, you know, because I do want them to mix to create the feather. To make it look like a feather or fur, little fur, like that. Gonna get a little bit more, just top it in here and there. I do have here, just wanna curve it slightly, like that. And then I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush, and then just add it. Some parts like that, since the paint is still wet paper, it will bleed, and I will just on the edges try to create some fuzzy edges. I'm gonna also pick up the paint that's going over my edge. I don't want to make it too far from the edge, like that, and then just slightly make it fuzzy like that. See, you don't want to have that harsh edge here. Just create a little bit of the fuzziness. And I will also pick up, I do have here some red. This one is not really in my collection, not yet. Planning a new one, just to give you a heads up for you who are sticking with me here still. a little bit of the red, and I'm gonna add that red here at the bottom of my robbin, and just a few touch-ups, slightly going up like that. And then also gonna get a little bit more of that brown, mix it in here. I do have some black here, and I will just mix those two in and add a little bit more of that darker tone here also, just to create that even darker, you know, shadows underneath, making that those furs a little bit darker. So just tap in a little bit more. Like that, and then moving also down to its little feet, legs, like that. And with this small brush, I'm gonna get again that mix of black and brown and do the feet, even though the feet are actually not that color, but I'm gonna put in also a red. In that mixture. Like that. And just gonna get a little bit more of that mix of brown and black. Maybe even put it with this one, and then just add a few details there. And pick up, I should really change my water. Just gonna soften this edge here. Like this. Like this, and a little bit of the yellow. Just to give some glow also in some parts to our little robbin. Like that. And we do have his beak, which is going to be yellow at the very top. I'm gonna paint it the entire way yellow. Do have a little bit too much water here, so just gonna get that yellow like that, and then pick up this mix, and on the bottom add that mix like that. And then this brown even lower at the very bottom, and a little bit of the black, just a few top-ins here at the lowest. Like that for its beak. There you go, a little bit more here. Like that, and I'm gonna put in a little bit of yellow around his eyes. Just a touch of the yellow, and also pick up a little bit of the black and make his eye even darker. So just be careful, I've added a little bit of the yellow, I don't want the bleeds. So like that. And I do have few details here which I want to maybe pronounce, but you know what, that's something that we would have to do when this fully dries. Yeah, so we don't fuss with that too much. Like that. And I'm gonna get a little bit more of the black. It's now, it started to dry, becoming too light, and I do want my leggies to be darker. So like that. Sweet. Like that, a little bit. Furrier look, furrier. Oh my god, I'm just being funny today. And some couple of details here. Like that. So like that, and we do need to do one more thing, is add a little bit more of the details to the part where the snow is, because the snow wouldn't also be so very white. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of that mix of blues I have, blue and black actually, and just add in a few details to my snow. Not all the way, but some parts, like that. And also here, where those branches are sticking out, just some shadows, you know, for that. And also some details to the snow, because as I said, even though it is white, it wouldn't be so fully white. So you would have a little bit more of the details on that snow also. Of course, we will leave some parts white. I'm not gonna paint that all the way, but also we're gonna add some textures. So like that here on our branches. Maybe a little bit down where it touches the branch, maybe that part would be slightly in the shadow. Like that. That's just to create also some of the texture to our snow branches. Like that. bit more of the pigment color inside to your nest. I do want to make it a little bit darker here inside, and maybe here, the lower part, like that. That's gonna be my robbin and my nest. We can now dry that. So this is now dry, and I will get this white pastel, but you can definitely use a white gouache here. And I'm just gonna do a couple of highlights on my bird. When adding a highlight, I do like to smudge it with my hand because I don't want to keep any harsh lines, and it's a little bit nicer. It gets in with those details, you know, it suits a little bit better. Just like that. Here we do have that, maybe on her beak. And I do need a little detail here. Like that. For my little bird. And here do have some highlights also on the feathers. Like that. And I will also do a few highlights here on my nest, like that. And you can also do if you like, but one more thing I will do is get eraser and erase those lines for the snow on my branches. Oh, I'm sorry. I really don't want those lines to stay visible, so I will just try to erase them to my best ability. And as much as I can. I'm not gonna be too worried about them, but you know, let's just try to erase them. Like that. Yeah, that looks better. That looks better already. If you want to add more details to your branches, this is now the time to add in the details, if that's what you like. You know, I'm gonna just go around and add some of the details to some of the branches. Again, with this smaller brush, just dry brushing, right? This one is maybe too light on the upper part, so just adding a little more of the brown. And again here, some of the browns, like that, just to have a little bit more of the details. We painted everything wet in wet on branches, so they are not so smooth, they are textured, so this way we'll add a little bit more of that texture. Like that. And a little bit more on this one where our bird is standing. So like that. Let's not forget this one, which we already did forget. So like that. And the last touch we're gonna do, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of that blue I used for my background and also for snow. A little bit of blue, a little bit of the black, like that, and do a few splatters with that, just for the parts where the background is very, very light. I do want that to create some snowy snowflakes, right? A little bit more of the blue, a little bit more of the black, maybe too much black. Now water. Yeah, that's more like it. Now it's gonna be quite visible. And you know, snowflakes are not always same size. So some are going to be more visible and some less, like that. You can also maybe paint in some eggs in your oh my god, nest, and you don't have to. And also I will place in a little bit of white gouache, like that, and also do some splatters with white gouache. My water is very dirty, so those white splatters will be more visible on the darker surface, and splatters that we did with white, with bluish tone will be more visible on lighter surface. So you will have snowflakes visible all the way, right? If you just splattered with white gouache, then we wouldn't have any visible splatters on surface that is lighter, and the other way around, right? It wouldn't, if you use only darker, they wouldn't be visible on darker. So this way we have some snowflakes visible on our robin, and also some snowflakes visible on, like that. Let's just add a lot of the snowflakes. I want to add more of the splatters. More. Go all the way. Make it very, very snowy day. We didn't have snow this year just yet, but we'll see. Maybe sometimes December doesn't have any snow, and sometimes it does. We'll see. A little bit more. To make that robin very in the snow. that. Just gonna clean my brush a little bit. Yeah, water is awfully dirty. So like that. That's gonna be a little birdie. And also I do wanna pick up a little bit of that white gouache and add it a few highlights here also with that white gouache, and also on his hat because he's standing here for a while and now there is some snow also gathering on him. On top of him, he's guarding his nest. Maybe some of the snow and also on his beak, and here on his little body. Maybe a few ins for the on those little peek through branches. Like that. So just a few details with white gouache and almost dry brush. Like that. Our little bird looks like a Snowden. It's Snowden, like that. And one more thing I will do, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Again, not something that you have to do, but I will get a little bit more of that black and just go some parts for the background just to make it a little bit more, to emphasize maybe a little bit more that nest. Just gonna go around and add a little bit more of the color around the nest, like that. Not all the way, but like that. There you go. Just to make that part around the nest a little bit, you know, darker for the background. There you go, like that. So we're done. Maybe just want to soften this. I'm just looking at it and I see that I probably went overboard with that white gouache, so I'm gonna pick that up a little bit. Yeah, you can always do some adjustments like that. If you believe they're necessary. I think I went a little bit overboard. So like that. And now I will get just again some white gouache and do a couple of splatters. I won't place any snow on top of his head. I didn't like that. So like that. Definitely done now. Or not, you know me. Just gonna add a little definition like that. No, definitely done. So I hope you enjoyed this video. There is a little robin with his nest in the snow. So it took a while. I'm not even sure. I know it's over an hour for sure, but not sure how over an hour I am. I hope you will enjoy this video and maybe give it also a try. If you want a stronger color, you can definitely paint Robin in a stronger color. That's up to you. And thank you guys a lot for watching, for all your support. If you do like this video, please hit the like button, share it, and comment. If you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.